Or if we can't, at least I know I'm gonna let everybody know immediately. I'm not gonna
Or-
drag it out. Or this is the worst, when a lender doesn't even call you, ghosts you the whole time.
No
and you
email,
never
no
get
anything.
nothing.
And you're going like 3 days, your client's calling you, you're like, well, what's going on?
Closing date already went by. You ain't heard a peep from them.
Nothing. And then
That's
they
the
pop
worst.
up like 2 days after closing, like, oh, I finally got the clear to close. What?
And today we're talking about chaos in the market.
Yeah.
Home buying chaos. Let's give it to them. Tell me, Holly,
Mhm.
what is your one memory that you're like, oh my God, this was crazy?
Okay. Second deal I ever closed while in this industry was on a mobile home, well, manufactured home that was an FHA deal. And with FHA manufactured homes, you know, you have to have the tie downs, there are certain codes that you have to go by in order for it to pass your FHA, right? So everything looks good, get past the inspection, you know, nothing that we see with our own eyes that could possibly cause it. We know it has the tie downs. It was by a previous investor. We waited the period where we were able to go FHA, so it was past the 90 days. Yep.
Okay.
So all of a sudden, the appraiser goes out, and you know, we're waiting on the appraisal to come back, and I get a call from the lender at the time, who is not Jose, because obviously me and Jose met a little bit later in my career,
Right.
you know. And shout out to one of our clients for connecting us on the deal. Like,
For sure.
yeah.
You know who you are.
Yes. Love the whole family. So anyway, when the appraisal came back, the lender at the time called me and is livid, blowing up. Like, crap. Like, this is not going to happen. Like, we're not closing this deal. Like, we're
Just being negative.
we're screwed, just being negative. So I had to stop him right there. I said, hold on. I've already prayed on it, and God's already got it, and we're going to close this deal. So do what you need to do in order for us to close this deal. But I mean, if you want me to write the appraiser for you, but I think we should have him relook at it and go over the things. Like, we're gonna combat some of this stuff that's on here, because it's ridiculous. Right. Like, there were crazy things on here. And so he was just like, still going off, we're not closing. I said, well, how about you combat these items and let me know how it goes, you know? So finally, he does. And we get back a report from the appraiser that is completely cleared. No repairs have to be made, and it met value. And come to find out, what happened was
chaos.
It was in an area to where if you don't have a 4-wheel pickup drive truck, I had to use my brother's truck to go out there and show the house, right? If you don't have a 4-wheel drive to get out there, you will get stuck. It is sugar sand. We're in Florida, and we're in the backwoods. It's a manufactured home with property, land actually. So the roads that were to this property were not completely paved. So the appraiser was mad that he got stuck in the dirt, and somebody had to come tow him. So when he finally got to that house, he was like, oh yeah, we don't like this, we don't like that, we don't like this, like, throw everything in there.
Wow.
They're not closing on this. They wasted my time. So we ended up, I prayed on it and they reversed it, and just like that. It was chaotic, but we made it happen and the deal closed. So
that's 1 in a million, though.
Yeah.
And especially because once the appraisers make up their mind,
it's
usually
cut. Yeah.
I've done many rebuttals to appraisers,
Uh-huh.
and very few ever get rebutted.
Yep.
And we win. You have to absolutely. So for people who don't know, during the appraisal process, if a value comes in, we can always rebut that value as long as you have evidence as far as properties that were recently sold before the appraisal was out there, right? Mm-hmm. So if the house sells after the appraisal is not going to use it because he went out there at a specific date. Mm-hmm. So it's got to be before, it's got to be close to that area and that house as well, and that's what he can use as comps. But very few often do we get those approved and raised. Yeah. I've been successful twice, and I've done several. So that tells you the likelihood of trying to get an appraiser to change their mind, because you're talking about a subjective idea, right? This person is looking at this and they're valuing it, and you could have 10 different appraisers go out there and they're all going to give it a different value. But once that person makes up their mind, that's their integrity that you're talking about. Yep. And if you question their integrity, very few, unless you have evidence that can raise that value, they're not going to raise it. Yeah.
And that's the thing. I was ready to combat. Like I was ready to go to war.
Yeah.
We knew what it takes. Like we know what it takes for FHA to pass, right? So
Right.
it's like these things that you're calling out.
Safe, sound, and sanitary. Keep that in mind.
Yes.
FHA is safe, sound, and sanitary. You gotta be able to put a baby in the floor, let him walk, and not get hurt.
There you go. Yeah, no.
Pretty much. I've had a similar story, but not so much as far as that. I've had stories where, I mean, for me in the lending world, it's a little bit different. One of my, I guess, most chaotic deals was that I had a client and her husband. She had all these student loans. So then she didn't make a payment on the student loan. Her credit scores, when you miss a payment on your student loan, if they're not deferred, your credit scores suffer tremendously. It's one of the biggest hits to your credit report, just so you know. And she suffered catastrophic scores. It went down to a 550. It was right below 550 actually. It was like 545. I ended up having to basically get different family members, and every time I plugged and play a family member, there was something always wrong with that family member. I couldn't get it done.
You had to.
So it turned out I had to get an uncle from a different state to be a non-occupant co-borrower, and it was actually we closed it. Luckily, the seller needed to stay in the house for 6 months because her child was in school. So the timing was perfect for both clients. And I was able to close that, but it took about 6 months to do it all. You know, just because of everything that I had to do.
You had to keep playing
carousel. Trying to work with them. I was playing carousel over and over with different family members. But there's never giving up. And my boss was like, I need you to stop this. I need you to kill it. I'm like, I'm closing this loan. I'm in it to win it. Like at this point, the family is there. They gave me the top story. They want to get their house. It's the first house they're buying.
Especially you made friends with the family. What they like.
I think that's the biggest, the biggest heartthrob, biggest pull of the string is when you meet these people and you see how excited they are. You see how the kids are excited for a house. They've been looking for a house. They haven't been approved for so long. Nobody was giving them a loan.
Everybody was like,
because obviously the things that happen, right?
Yep.
And you're like their only hope. And I'm like, I don't like giving up on people. I like to fight for my clients. I like to do anything. I will maximize anything I can to get it done.
Any resource.
And that's pretty much how it happened. And I closed like 6 months later. But it was trying times, chaotic times for sure.
Oh, always. Okay, so with that being said, like with the appraiser and stuff like that, and doing the rebuttals, do you think that was he kind of like? Do you think he went into like a area where he kind of felt bad about it after the fact?
I don't know, because I'm not in his headspace, right?
Yeah.
You know, I know that if you don't clean up your house, you know, keep things nice before an appraiser goes out there, they'll ding you for stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, same as they'll give you value if you say, hey, I did these changes to my house. You give them a list, so sometimes that'll help influence their okay, this has got great value in this house. You use high-end, high gloss paint. You change all the countertops to quartz, or you know, whatever it is that you're using is high-end. The key word for all appraisers is high-end. If I use high-end materials to improve my house, you'll get a higher value.
Yeah, that's true.
It's always one of the things. So I don't know what happened there. Maybe he was just mad because he got stuck.
I think
stuck in the mud, you know. It's one of those things, and it could have been just a bad day. He probably had that was probably like the tipping point, right? He probably had a whole morning of doing things.
Yeah.
Appraisers get many different calls, right? They sign up for different appraisals. Sometimes people are complaining. Sometimes they're trying to do rebuttals.
Yep.
I'm sure he had a bunch of calls or something that particular day.
Yep.
That moment where he got stuck, he's like, I'm done, cruel world.
Popped him. You know what else though? Also, that goes to show you in this industry.
One more thing though. The power of prayer is real though.
Oh, it is. I don't worry now. What I tell you all the time? I was just like, you know what? I said a prayer, Jose, already. We're going to make it. We say that, like we speak positivity to each other. Like when we've had some of the hardest deals to close, right? And then I'm like, Jose, we're good. We both say we're good. I sent the prayer already. He listened, we're going to close. And I kid you not, we get a change of news in like what, not even 24 hours?
Yeah.
So if you don't have somebody on your team that's like as positive as you are, or like, you know, that at least is going to, okay, you can't have one party tearing down the other party or causing the stress, because it's already a stressful situation as it is.
100%.
If you're not going to take the stress off, because you got to think about it, lenders and realtors go hand in hand. That is your business partner. There is not one without the other unless it's a cash deal. And a lot of times those are far and few in between, right? So you got to understand, if you work better together, you can get a lot more accomplished. So if you're going to give the other party a harder time, why would they want to give you more clients, or why would they want to work with you? You have to make work fun. You have to make it worthwhile. If you're going to be the negative Nancy, why should they be the positive person that's going to pick up the slack?
100%. And, I think that's one of the biggest things. And, not talking bad about realtors or anything like that, because I work with many of you. That's my big, my clients is the realtors. Their clients are the clients that are coming in, right? Mm-hmm. And, and I handle their clients because they're my clients. And it's like one of these things where that dynamic is there, right? But if a realtor is throwing me under the bus, I'm a thumb pointer. I don't point fingers at nobody. Title companies, everybody in this industry like to finger point on everybody if a deal goes bad.
If it falls on them.
I'm a thumb pointer. I'll take all the blame. I'm that guy. I'm like, look, I'm a thumb pointer. I'll take the blame. I'm gonna get through this. We're gonna close no matter what. But there's always realtors who throw you under the bus. In my industry, right? There's people that throw you under the bus so hard, and it's like, okay, I'll take that. But man, really, I can't trust you no more like that, because you won't have my back when I need you to have my back, right? That's the worst thing in the world. If you don't have my back, I have your back. I have your back 100%. And you throw me under the bus like that, we're a team.
That is a thing.
We're on the same team. That's the worst part, right?
Or the worst part is you get the okay, and from the realtor standpoint, I've dealt with this before too, to where the lender at the time lied to the client, right? Mm-hmm. And then is going to tell me one thing other than what, it's going to tell me the same lie he told the client at the same time, tell him, keeping the lies going, right? And then when everything pops off and it goes down, it's my fault. You're throwing me under the bus now. So now you're making my clients look at me crazy. And I'm like, I brought you these clients. Why would you do that? We are a team. If anything, you're going to tell me exactly what's going on. This is how it's going. And if we don't have any answers to give anybody right now, guess what? I don't have anything to tell you right now. This is what we're working on.
Don't lie. Don't say anything crazy. Just say, hey, this is work. I like to have solutions, right? I would never come to you and say, hey, Holly, this is what's going on.
Yeah.
Deal is dead right now. Mm-hmm. No, mm-hmm. I'm going to say, hey, this is what's going on. Yep. Here's my solution. And we're going to close this bad boy. Or if we can't, at least I know I'm going to let everybody know immediately. I'm not going to drag it out. Or this is the worst. When a lender doesn't even call you, ghosts you the whole time.
No email,
no
anything.
Nothing.
And you're going 3 days. Your client's calling you. You're like, well, what's going on?
Closing date already went by. You ain't heard a peep from them.
Nothing. And then they pop up 2 days after closing oh, I finally got the clear to close. What?
Chaos.
Bananas. What is wrong?
No. So I always like to keep everything always up front, crystal clear. Holly's the same with me, and I always have her back no matter what. We're battle buddies, no matter what.
And even if we don't have a solution for that problem at the time, right? We always talk about different things we're going to do. Even if it's not a solution, we talk about different routes, right? We always have more than one option open in the different routes we can take. And then we effectively communicate that with our clients. And then they're like, oh, this makes sense.
More understanding. It's cordial. There's no
there's no harsh pressure.
What we say in Spanish, lloriqueo, crybaby and stuff
like that. For real.
I want happy tears, not sad tears.
Always.
Bottom line.
Always. Wait. And then another thing that I wanted to talk about was
But get it out of your chest. Let's go.
Okay, me being somewhat of a newbie in this is another one, a chaotic deal that I bit my teeth on. Me being a newbie in the industry, and it's not even being a newbie. I will tell you right now with every sense of confidence and matter of the fact that I know 80% more material of things that somebody who's been in the industry 10, 12 plus years may not even bitten their teeth on. Because we've run across everything you could think of with the market the way it was, right? So I had a house that we went under contract with. It was also a manufactured home that was on some land. These are crazy deals, y'all. And there was a real estate agent. It wasn't in Polk. It was outside of Polk, a little bit out. And there was a real estate agent who obviously must have been too busy to know that there was a portion that was added to the contract with Florida, right?
Get out of here.
So with me having the background knowledge of contracts and stuff like that, shout out to FAMU Law School, did 2 years at you guys, whatever. So, so with me knowing how to read those contracts back and forward, like when we ended up getting the contracts in, that was procedure for us to use those contracts. And obviously I work for the buyers. So we're on my contract that we're doing and we're going to send it off. So we were in trade period, had the clear to close, but she wanted her sellers to back up out of the deal. Oh, now we're going to back up out of the deal, even though we had the clear to close because we extended closing 2 weeks, right? And we were past the closing date, but we got an extension. Now this last one, she wasn't giving us an extension, but we were already in the trade period and already had the clear to close.
Already had the CD out.
Poor thing. Poor Bessie. So mad. So she calls me with, assurance. I have been in this industry for 15 years. We're getting out of this. I told my clients to walk away. There's nothing you can do about it. Right? I said, well, I'm sorry. We're not saying names. Can you read this section, subsection right here? And you can read it with me. Let's go through this. Okay, this is what this says. And we're reading it. She says, oh, I don't have to take this from you. And she hangs up the phone, right? I send a text message. Either we close or you guys are in breach of contract. Pick a side. I guess we'll just close. All right. Nice choice.
Yeah, those contracts are real. Some contracts are serious, and it protects the buyers. The consumers are being protected at all times. That's the good thing about the contract. So, pay attention to that. That's definitely a good thing.
Oh, and you better get a realtor that knows some contracts. If you don't, you can get yourself, like we said, in somewhat deep caca.
It's been another episode of London Lounge where closings are made simple.